maybe you can throw in the question in the chat.
Hey, welcome to Inspired Inc. I'm so excited to be doing another live episode with us tonight. We have a spectacular guest joining us. We have maybe some off connection issues, so we'll see how fluid the conversation goes. I know our internet's being a little weird right now, but I'm super excited to talk to Javier Hernandez here. He runs a fantastic convention. He's a creator himself. Javier, thank you for joining us this evening. And we'll see how the conversation works with some of our connection. But well, I'm super excited to have you here. You just came back from tabling yourself, but tell us about what you do with your convention and your books that you put out as well.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here, Brandon. Been wanting to come on the show for a while, so thanks for lining it up. My name is Javier Hernandez, as you said. I'm most known for my comic book series El Muerto the Aztec Zombie. I started doing that in 1998. So I think we're at 26 years, coming up to the big 30. I remember I did my 25th anniversary last year. Made a logo and everything, and kind of tried to tour quite a bit where I could. But yeah, looking forward to the 30th. 30 years self-publishing comics, doing it on my own way. My character El Muerto, it's about this young man. He's born on Day of the Dead, November 2nd. On his 21st birthday, he gets killed in a car accident, and he ends up getting resurrected by the Aztec god of death. And that's the start of the story. Every time I tell people at a convention, the eyebrows pop up. I guess because I don't know. I guess the string of events, Day of the Dead, Aztec god of death, resurrection. So anyway, and I switched to a graphic novel format a few years ago, where now I sit there and spend the whole year and a half, whatever, doing 120, 30, 40 page graphic novel as opposed to single issues. So yeah, I have like an epic. I'm shooting for 1,000-page epic. I always like the sound of that. So it's about 9 or 10 graphic novels. So I got 2 under my belt, and the third one, I switched it up a bit. Instead of doing a graphic novel release, I'm releasing it, as a floppy. So it's one of 3. So I always like the miniseries format. This just came back from the printer. Thank you, Comix Wellspring. Great quality as usual. I did a Kickstarter for this recently, so I'm going to be spending the next couple of weeks fulfilling the rewards and getting them out there to the folks. So yeah, I've been doing that. I teach, and back in 2011, all the dates get mixed up to me, but me and my friend Ricardo Padilla, who sadly passed away last year, horrible, devastating news to everybody, especially his family. But we co-founded the Latino Comics Expo. The dream was to just gather for a weekend Latino comic creators, zine people, political cartoonists, autobio folks, anyone doing any type of comics, graphic novel, zine of Latino descent, just to spotlight that for a weekend. You put it out there, the fans came out in full support. In the initial shows, one of the comments from fans was, I didn't know there was Latinos making comics. I didn't know there was so many Latinos making comics. So it proved my point. We got to get the word out there. I figure, for us doing it once a year, it's a nice way to spotlight. And like I always tell the artists who come to our show, or vendors, yeah, come to our show, but the rest of the year, go hit whatever comic conventions you can, book festivals, whatever. Get the word out. Don't just wait for us. Don't just come out once a year with your, with your books, whatever. Do it all year round. But the Latino Expo, it's a nice weekend to get together with fellow creators and, of course, the fans for this celebration of comics and culture.
Oh, I love that so much. There's so much to unpack there too. First off, the Latino Comics Expo, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. Our friend Rick Lopez got to table there recently, and he had nothing but great things to say about the convention itself, the everyone who was running it and helping out, and the layout, the crowd, like how supportive it was. And for me, that hits really close from home. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and so I grew up right there at the border of Juarez and El Paso, and I'm half Mexican, half German. So just like having that aspect of like my heritage and like life included in that, it just made me so excited that there's somebody spearheading some sort of Latino movement to spotlight comics. And it is astonishing because finding culture in comics can be difficult, and having someone really highlight that culture and share it with the world and be proud of it, especially in this day and age and times, I think it's one of the most important things that's happening right now. I feel like your con and your purpose and your what you do and how you treat your creators there are really vital to what's going on. And the way you've kind of approached your con too, like it's not in any way excluding anybody in any sort, but it's really just to bring spotlight and attention to like respectful like creators and artists. So how do you keep a nice balance at the con? To how do you treat your creators differently from what you've seen at other cons? What did you really want to do different when you started this convention?
Well, one nice thing about us, we're not huge. We don't fill up a stadium, and the good reason for that is it's a very intimate show. So you asked about how we treat our creators. I mean, Ricardo would always like to welcome a new vendor creator to our shows. Welcome to the family. Um, so we, depend on the venue and such, but we've been at the same venue now for I think 5 or 6 years in Long Beach, California. The Museum of Latin American Art, MOLA, MOLAA. They've been fantastic partners. Allison there, who's our big liaison. I mean, she's got a great crew. Everything runs so smooth. Like, what I do is come up with uh, invite all the artists, do the layout of the tables, and I do the panels. But
Mm.
MOLA, the museum, they handle all the logistics. You know what I mean? Get the tables set up. They get the food vendors outside, and they do so much work. So it's a partnership with MOLA, and it's worked out great. But yeah, our artists, we're first name basis with all of them because we don't have 500 people coming to the show. We might get about 50, 60, 70 artists for that weekend. Um, we've been fortunate to have folks like Spain Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He came like the year or so before he passed away, unfortunately. None of us knew he was very ill at the time, but he came and, he looked fine to me, just an older gentleman. This was we've traveled the show a couple of times. We started out in San Francisco at the Cartoon Art Museum for the first 3 years. Then we came down to Long Beach for the majority of the time. But we've also been up to Modesto Junior College. It's just up in the Bay Area, Central California. We've also even been out to Brownsville, Texas.
Wow.
Some years ago, we hooked up. So we were in your neck of the woods, at least Texas,
Yeah.
some years ago at Brownsville. So I think we're one of the few shows, maybe the only show, but maybe one of the few that's traveled around. And we've had requests, at least from fans, hey, when you can come out to New York, East Coast, Chicago. So we're open to that as long as we find a good partner, because we need a venue, obviously, and they can handle the logistics. But so yeah, it's an intimate show, and like I said, it's that once a year gathering. It's nice to see people again after a year, and then you don't see them. Well, some of them I see at other shows, but some I don't because they travel from outside the state. But it's great. It's a wonderful show. And I know two of your recent guests, Andro Gamboa and is it Cosmic Cat? Rick Lopez?
Yeah, Rick Lopez. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's Rick. Yeah, I saw their episodes and they both mentioned the expo Rick did. It was very favorable to it. He came to the expo for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a comment you told me in an email once, like, oh, I've always wanted to go to that, which makes me feel great. People hear about it, and yeah, I want to go there one day. So hopefully it becomes a destination goal for a lot more artists and creators. And we're fortunate to have, because we're in Los Angeles, the Hernandez brothers, Jaime and Beto, have been to the show regularly for some years now.
Yeah.
In fact, Jaime's coming back this year. So, and Lalo Alcaraz. And then, like I said, we get veterans, but we also get first timers. We love the first time people coming out for the first show, doing their first comic work. So we're open to the whole spectrum of creators. We're not just going for like, you got to be a 40-year legend or you got to be a first year, rookie. We'll take everybody. We accept, all Latinos, all voices should be represented. And we have non-Latino creators as well. There's some local artists. They want to come. We have space for that too, But I mean, obviously the intent of Latino Comics Expo is to expose the fans, any type of fan, expose them to Latino creators doing their individual unique works. So everybody's welcome to attend. Again, it's not just only Latinos can attend; it's everybody. Different groups get different things out of it. Latinos get that sense of pride to see, men and women, Latino creators doing their own stuff. Non-Latino readers get to check out some of these books. Some of the books are very Latino-centric, very, very much into the culture, the language, and such. So, to me, it's a win-win situation. And I'm so thankful for the last almost 15 years, I think. Everybody who's come to the show as a vendor or as a fan or a partner.
I love that. That show has been I mean, I've heard probably about 3 or 4 creators talk about it, and it's really refreshing hearing creators talk about having success at a con and being treated well at a convention too, and also being spotlighted in
Right.
some, shape or way. We do so many conventions now where indie creators are shoved in the corner. They kind of feel like, cons are they're just there for the table money, like cons are just bringing them on for table money. It doesn't matter what they do. They're just shuffling them in. And so having that, a con with intent and purpose and knowing that you're highlighting people in a great way as well, that just means so much to any creator, and I think that's really something that all of us are striving to look for right now as we try to table more and get our names out there. Cons that just treat us better as an indie creator. And it's great to have the 40-year-old legends. We all admire them, we all look up to them, and we love giving them our work, but we're there so we can be there at one point, and sometimes
Right.
they're just kind of shunned away. And it sounds like you've done a great job. Is that also because you table so much at, for your book, and you've kind of examined conventions over the years and what works and what doesn't work? Have you just kind of picked up and been like, this is how I'm going to do it because this is going to be the best way possible?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of our key. I'm sure there's other conventions like that where one or two of the organizers is an actual comic creator. It helps a lot because I know exactly what it's like to get an application and like, okay, is this show worth it? How much does the table cost? How am I going to be treated when I get there? So yeah, I am always on the side or looking out for the artist because I am one, and I exhibit at my show. No, like duh, of course I do. When I exhibit at the show, I tell my friend, Ricardo, I used to tell him, but now his daughter's kind of stepping up, helping out. It's like when I'm at the show, though, I'm kind of off the clock for the expo. You know what I mean? Like, you guys handle any issues or whatever. I got to just focus on selling. Once in a while, they'll call someone over to my table. Might be someone from the media or somebody, here's our co-founder. Oh, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. But yeah, having a creator, comic creator, as the one of the co-founders and directors, I think has helped make it a successful show in regards to artists attending and vendors and such.
And do you feel like, due to the unfortunate circumstances of your friend and co-founder, do you feel like that gives you more purpose and drive to continue this convention onward and just keep it driving for as long as possible?
Yeah, yes, of course. Yes, definitely. At first when, I got the news earlier in the year, last year, months before the show was to, happen, his daughter called me and was like, wow, that was just, again, no one gets the worst news than the family,
Yeah.
But we were good friends. We were friends before we did the expo, me and Ricardo. He used to be a big patron of mine. I met him because I was up at San Francisco one time, maybe San Jose, the Alternative Press Expo, the Ape, which is no longer around.
Yes.
I was vending there, and he came up, and he was like those fans of our expo. He was like, "Wow, Latino creator making these El Muerto, a very Latino themed comic." And I was with some other friends of mine, Rafael Navarro, who does Sonambulo, a masked wrestler turned private eye, and my other friend Rody Montijo was doing a book called Pablo's Inferno. So for like a guy like Ricardo, a big comics fan, and he's very much into his culture. I mean, him and his wife have a pretty nice art collection of, actual Mexican art and pottery and whatever sculptures that they collected. So for him, we married the culture and the comics for him. So he was also a very logical person to co-found the expo because he's a fan. He's an advocate for the culture. He had a lot of experience in the hotel business and the service industry. He was also so instrumental because I'm an artist. I don't really necessarily like to get on the phone and ask for money or ask for contacts. He, because of his hotel, he had no problem calling city council, a mayor, all the way on down. He'd get a hold of United Airlines or an airline. Hey, you guys have discount tickets or free tickets for organizing, blah, blah, blah. So that is very important too. Like, yeah, it's important that I get the artist and I assemble the panels, but all that behind the scenes stuff that I don't want to do. Now I'm having to do some of that, but also having some of the other folks that work with me take care of that. And I lost track of the original question, but yeah, that's what the answer evolved into.
No, yeah, and honestly, like having a team and a squad in a sense or a partnership of any sort, you need that balance of somehow how you're going to manage things. Because being an indie creator and not only just being an indie creator of just like I'm making my own books, but now I'm like publishing my own books and now I'm conning and now I'm running my own convention. There's so much to handle, especially on the business side. And even I run
Yes.
Apollo City Comics, and that's where I've gone to friends and been like, I need help. I could manage, I could delegate, I could lead, but the business and the money, I'm bad at that. Like
Right.
I want to give that to someone else. Like the
Yeah,
worst.
no. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's so with the con, like, it's a great tribute piece. It's a great way to highlight creators, and it's a great way to get your book out there too. Do you feel like this convention has grown you as an indie creator and how it's kind of somewhat benefited your own titles and your own books?
Um, yeah, I was gonna say just having a yearly show that I appear at every year, like clockwork, that's always the benefit. So the fact that it's my show and I got to be there, I'm going to be there anyway. So this is no surprise. This has been my most consistent show. Obviously, I haven't missed one yet for the last 14 years. I do a lot of shows in LA. I'm here in Los Angeles. Um, when I started out doing my comic in '98, I did do San Diego Comic Con. Obviously the biggest show in the country.
Yeah.
And I like the hustle and bustle of it, especially 25 years ago, I was younger and like, yeah. As the years go on, the prices just keep rising. Ask anyone that goes, the table cost and the hotels. And so I haven't been tabling there for, I don't know, some years now. I mean, I don't know, 10 years, 12, 15 maybe. I've been there once or twice. A friend would say, hey, come share my table. And it's nothing against San Diego Comic Con, I would love to do it, but the hustle and bustle gets too much for me.
It's a rough
So
grind.
I told myself, I live in LA. We have so many events, not just conventions, which we do, LA Comic Con, Long Beach Comic Con, several other ones in some other cities. And then we have art festivals, we have book fairs, we have zine fairs, we have art walks, out there on the sidewalk of a building, of a business. And me, I do Latino festivals, and of course, my big thing is I do Dia de los Muertos events.
Oh,
Because
that's cool.
because the comic El Muerto is based on Dia de los Muertos part of it. And when I'm at the Day of the Dead events, and these events have gotten bigger over the last 20 years, not because of me. Coco has helped, the movie Coco, the Book of Life, and just in general, that explosion of interest in culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very often, the only comic book person in that whole marketplace of people selling, paintings, sugar skulls, all the associated things with the Dead. I'm the only comic book there. So I always hype it up when people come to my table, like, hey, you found the only spot you're going to find comics here. And this is, as far as I can tell, at least one of the very few, probably two or three, Day of the Dead based comics, at least ongoing comics. So I mean, the world's first Day of the Dead comic book superhero. I should use that as a tagline somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Latino Expo has helped my, it's been good for the growth of the comic. But one thing I was very careful of in the beginning, I didn't want to turn it into like the El Muerto Con. So every year we have a guest artist do our poster. We've had Javier Hernandez do it, Lalo Alcaraz, different creators, Jorge Garza. I was always I never done the poster myself, not yet. I should be entitled to do it once, but I didn't want to do it every year. I don't want to be the guy drawing the poster every year. I'm not trying to promote myself. I mean, hand in hand with the expo.
Yeah.
It's, hey,
Makes sense.
here comes the expo. Check out all our creators and vendors, blah, blah, blah. I'll be there. I'm one of them, but check out. So a couple of years ago, Ricardo surprised me. He picked one of our regular vendors, Crystal Gonzalez. She does a book called In the Dark, to do the poster. And one day he's like, hey, check this out. And I had a tear in my eye. She drew El Muerto on the poster. I'm like,
Sick.
hey, good. It's not me that drew. I didn't draw it. I didn't tell her to draw him. He probably suggested to her. Because I think it was El Muerto's, it was during El Muerto's 25th anniversary. So I thought that was a very nice thing that he did and she did. So El Muerto's been on the poster. Eventually, I'll get around to doing one of the posters. I got to think, do I want to put El Muerto on there again? But I didn't draw him the last time. Or I draw just something else. But anyway,
I love that consideration too. Like that's really like honestly like genuinely sweet where you're just like, I'm drawing a line because it's here it's for the creators. It's for the people that are attending. It's here to highlight them. And that's very admirable as like a showrunner as well. And it shows like, I mean, again, when I talk about intent of running a convention, that's what creators want to hear is that, oh, you care more about us than even your projects. And that's I mean, rare, I guess, in the industry, no matter what.
Wow, that's crazy to hear that it's rare. But
yeah, I feel,
and you know what? I grew like you and all of us. I'm very well aware of internet culture. I don't want 10,000 people crucifying me. Blah, 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 blah.
Same.
But the main reason, but the main reason is the expo is not to promote El Muerto and myself every year. So anyway.
I mean, I understand that balance. Like even with my books and my comics, like I promote Apollo and I throw it in here and there whenever I bring up conversations, but I don't use my CWS base to push Apollo books. Like I'm not messaging every creator I've, ever messaged to back our Kickstarters or support. You know what I mean? This is more like, hey, I do this. Check it out. If you like the show, check this out. But I'm just happy people are here and hanging out with us in general and supporting creators like you. You know what I mean? So it's a different way to approach. You kind of step into a different persona in a sense, a different mindset when you're like, oh, I'm gonna spotlight my book, but now it's not time for me. It's time for everybody else. And that's very important.
And
So,
conversely, really quick. I'm glad, like, you're doing an interview with me as Javier Hernandez, the creator of El Muerto, blah, blah, blah. I've done interviews before. I'm glad when you guys ask me, and let's not talk about the expo. I'm more than happy to talk about that because that's what I do. Yeah, of course. So like at the expo, I'm not highlighting myself, but when I'm highlighting myself, I bring up the expo. So, and among other things I do. Yeah. So thanks for the platform for this. So really quick before we forget, so the next expo is coming up. It's going to be in December this year. Usually we do it in the fall, but I was just so swamped and buried with work. I asked if we can move it to December. So it's going to be December 7th on a Sunday in Long Beach, California at MOLA, Museum of Latin American Art, 11 to 5 p.m., 11 a.m., 5 p.m. And it's free admission. So, the fans, it's free. Come on down, bring the families. We get a lot of families. We get a lot of hardcore comic fans. We get all types of folks there. So anyway, I want to get that out there first.
No, yeah. Keeping it as a free show, do you feel like that benefits the amount of volume you get into the show itself? And do you think that also helps creators sell more as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because right off the top, the fan has an extra, whatever, 15, 20 bucks, 25 bucks to spend on whatever they were going to spend. And Oh, I lost my train of thought about that. It's something about the freeness, the freeness of it. But yeah, it does help. Oh, I know what it was. So the first year we did the show at Mola, it was a great show, and they told us. So Mola is, it's a big institution. They got the huge collections of Latin American, Latino artworks in there. Names and everything, and artists from around the world. Um, their biggest event they do every year, not surprisingly, is Dia de los Muertos. But after our first show, we had a post meeting, and they told us, "Well, guys, you know what? You're our second best event. This is their first time doing it there. For the year, you guys have been our second biggest event after Day of the Dead. That's a big deal because they do events there all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the freeness definitely helped. But also wow, Latino Comics? Question mark. I didn't know. Dot dot dot. So, all good. It's all good, man.
I love that too because it just shows that there is an interest, there is a drive for it, and it just need to spread it out more. And giving you a platform like this, and somehow we'll figure out how to partner with you with CWS down the line. I think there's something definitely we could work out or do something. You know what I mean? Because that's just something that hits so
Yeah.
close to home for me too. But what's smart about your approach to everything too is exactly what you said about like your Day of the Dead approach. You found a niche, like you found a very special niche, and you're going over to more than just comic book conventions and comic focused conventions. And I try to get creators to know that all the time. Those art walks are great. Those
Yeah.
local community events, your library does so much for you. Your all of those, you'll save a lot of money. It'll probably be local, and you'll probably sell a little bit more sometimes than you would a regular con, and not spend travel and all this. Or even if you do travel a bit, it's not nearly as heavy or intensive. But knowing that niche, like with Apollo, we did a cannabis festival. We have some stoner books, and we were the only comic book people there. And being at like a cannabis convention where like we're selling cool art and comics, and the only
Right.
ones, people were flocking to it. And I was like, okay,
Right.
this is our niche at the moment. We got to focus in on this. So now we made connections through like different dispensaries and head shops and stuff like that. So now we're kind of growing because of that one show and that market, and now it's fueling all of our music comics and stuff like that. So it helps you enable a bit more and gets your word out. But you got to find that niche you fall into. And I think whether it was intentional or not, but you're the marketing on that, brilliant. Like just solid
Yeah.
marketing.
And like you, I tell newer creators, yeah, go find different places. If one of my friends, he does a wrestling comic, Lucha
Mm.
Cats. He on his own, is a no-brainer. He goes to there's local wrestling shows in most places or a lot of places around the country, small little leagues, but he goes there, he tables there. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
every you're going to your cannabis conventions or whatever. Every interest, every group has comic fans. Ballroom dancers. There's 500 there at a ballroom dancing convention. There's a good chunk of them, a small chunk that read comics. Baseball fans, there's a section that read comics. They have deaf aficionados. There's a section of them that read comics. So
Mhm.
I didn't create El Muerto because of that. I wasn't thinking that. I wanted to do it because I wanted to do a Latino character. And at the time, this is in the mid 90s. I was working on early 90s, maybe coming up. It's like, okay, well, no one does anything with Day of the Dead in comics, not in the 90s,
Yeah.
you know. So, and I wanted to do something with Aztec mythology because I've always told people, like, if I see one more Hercules movie, I'm going to punch somebody in the nose.
Yeah.
Hercules is fine. I know it's Greek myths and legends are, you know, foundation of society, whatever.
But there's
But
so much more
do we need
and
the one
cooler
for
stuff.
there's so many different cultures and religions, mythologies throughout the world. So anyway, my Aztec mythology / Day of the Dead mashup was probably the first of its kind, I think. Although there was Aztec characters in comics, I've got some Thor battling, Quetzalcoatl or whatever it is. But yeah, to put them together in a comic, and the central character is called El Muerto, and he's wearing this mariachi outfit. I think it's I don't know if he's on here. Oh yeah, there he is
Yeah. Yeah.
in the black suit. Yeah, when I came up with the costume, I didn't want to give him a spandex like a superhero costume. I love superheroes, but I wanted something like, you know what, a black mariachi suit how iconic is that as a Mexican identity? So when people see El Muerto, he's got the skull face makeup, and he's got a black simple mariachi suit. And as an artist, you know, I want to keep the design simple. God forbid I ever had to draw the Iron Man costume from the movies. You
So
know,
intense.
10,000 rivets, ribbing, and everything. It's like the comic book costume is so much more iconic. But anyway, yeah. So I wanted to design a very simple, iconic looking character, easy to draw for me as far as details, but also people from a distance can look at it, and I would think a good majority of them would say, "Oh, that character looks Mexican," because he's wearing these tight pants with the boots. It's got the short jacket, um, and then the skull face. So yeah, that was intentional, that part. But then, you know, when I put out the first issue, I was looking at this calendar for the year. Okay, let me go do Comic Con. Let me do this. I go, oh, Day of the Dead's coming up in November. Boom. So yeah, now I do that. And then, you know, I'm in LA again. I'm so fortunate to be in LA for so many reasons. So much culture, so many events. You know, it's practically ground zero outside of Mexico for Mexican culture.
Yep.
At least one of the top ones. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that all worked out afterwards, after coming up with the character. I mean, you know, I got a movie based on my comic.
I was going to bring that up
I
too.
didn't.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, so much stuff, man. Let's do 3 episodes. But I bring it up because I didn't make a comic because I wanted a movie. You know, I love movies. I like a lot of the comic book movies. But one day I did an interview on NPR. I was at San Diego actually, and this reporter was actually looking. This guy was way ahead of his time because this was 2000. I don't know. 2000. When was 9/11? What, you remember what year it was?
2001. 2001. Yeah.
2001. 2001. So it was before then. Well, it was
Okay.
that year actually, earlier in the year. Sorry, hiccups. He was looking for Latino creators to interview. It's like, wow, this is before Latino Comics Expo. I mean, this guy was looking for Latino independent creators to interview. He interviewed me. He sat down. We talked. He left. So I did my duty, and this goes to all the artists out there. Try to do the interviews when you get offered. And, you know, if you don't want to search for them, if they come to you, take it. If they're offering you an interview, NPR, wow, national radio, yes, I'll do it. But then the guy left, and I just, okay, well, whatever. It'll get heard, and that's fine. Put the word out. Well, one of the people who heard it was Brian Cox, not the villain from X-Men 2, Stryker.
Yes, I was about to say.
Brian Cox called me up. He's on the set of X-Men. Wants to. No, this was an independent. Again, like us, he's an independent filmmaker. He heard the interview on NPR. Later on, I heard that he was driving on we got a thing here, Santa Monica, called Pacific Coast Highway, this winding road. You better be driving really fast because he was driving a stick shift, and somehow he got a pencil and wrote my name down. It's like, wow, careful, you're gonna kill yourself there driving. But anyway, he had his assistant contact me eventually. Hey, we heard about you. Where could you pick up your comics? We couldn't find any at Meltdown Comics. That's an iconic, used to be an iconic LA comic shop. They had to close up a few years ago. But I go, well, you can order them for me. I got like 2 different. I got El Muerto comic, and I got this one called Manga Muerto, which now it's opened up a whole nother interview stream. But so they sent me a check. You know how much the check was? It was, one book was 4, one was 3, and then like $2 shipping back then. It was like $10. I got a check for $10 from a director. I didn't jack the price up. Maybe because I was a schmuck. I didn't know. I just thought that's what the books cost. He read them eventually. He went to South Africa for a film. He came back months later, and then they told me, hey, he'd like to meet with you.
Ooh.
Like obviously a film director wants to meet you. It's not just to discuss, hey, this is a cool comic. I went to go meet him there on at his office there on Sunset, and he talked to me for about an hour. A lot of questions, and some of them I was honest. I was a schmuck. I go, you know, Brian, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that. I'm not sure what that's going to lead to, or I'm not sure, because I was still starting the comic. So I was just honest with him. But at the end of the conversation, he goes, well, obviously I called you down here because, you know, I want to know if you'd be interested in turning this to a film. And I told him, I don't know if it's correct grammar. I go, well, I wouldn't not be interested. So I'll just cut to the chase. I got a lawyer. I always use a lawyer, people.
Yeah.
I don't care how friendly somebody is. There's nothing against Brian, but doesn't matter who it is talking to you. Get a lawyer whenever it involves some type of business, not just movies, anything. If they want to make T-shirts out of your work, get it in writing, and get a lawyer to read the contract. So yeah, got a lawyer, bounced the contract back and forth, and then about 2 years later, I'm down in north from where I live at the San Fernando Mission. You know the missions we have here in LA, in California.
Yeah.
I'm on the San Fernando Mission. I drive up, and there's all the cars and the filmmaking crew, and everybody's there. And day one of El Muerto. Yeah, it's like pinch myself back then because I'm an indie guy, and I got a movie based on my comic. I had a cameo in it. I asked for a cameo.
Yes.
In the film was starred Wilmer Valderrama, Fez from that '70s show. Those of you who remember that '70s show,
Yes.
I think he even showed up in the remake, the whatever they call it, '90s show. I think I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, we can have a whole talk about that. I don't want to take up the whole time.
Well,
But,
no, that's so exciting. So, like, having that come to life for you, how much were you involved with some of the script making process, and how much of it like may have changed on screen that deviates from your book as well? Like, were you happy with that, or was there some dissatisfaction or disagreements, maybe even in that process?
okay, good questions because I've answered these before, so I have the answers in my head. At the time, I just had the origin sequence of the comic in that
Mhm.
first issue. How he becomes, he gets his heart ripped out by the gods. He's sent back to Earth a year later, and then he's like, "What the hell? What the hell's just happened to me?" And that's where the story ends. That's the story that Brian bought, the comic he bought. So he had to make up a whole plot. Yeah, his origin takes up like 5 minutes in the film. The car crashes. He wakes up in the land of the dead. The gods rip his heart out, send him back to Earth. Very cool visual sequence. But so he made up a whole new storyline. What happens when he gets back to Earth? So that's that question. How did I react to it? I was fine with it because what am I going to say? I don't have the second part of it yet. And as a comic fan, you know, I went into this whole movie project thinking of Batman. There's Adam West Batman TV show. There's Dick Sprang Batman comics.
Mhm.
Real cutesy looking Batman. It's my favorite Batman artist. There's
Oh,
the Dark Knight,
yeah.
Frank Miller, the
Mhm.
brutal dark Batman, Dark Knight. Um, there's all different types of cartoons. Batman the animated series, and then the Hanna-Barbera series, whatever it was. So, in my mindset, yes, these comic book characters, properties as they call them, they're multifaceted as far as once they travel to another medium or even another comic. You know, um, so yeah, I went in thinking it's okay that there's this other El Muerto, there's this particular movie version of El Muerto, and then there's my comic. And then maybe we'll get a new movie one day, and maybe it'll be another branch of my comic or closer to it, whatever. So yeah, so I was fine with what he did. Um, but the disagreements, there's little. So how? Let me go back. How close was I involved?
Mhm.
Thankfully, because this was a tiny production, independent film producer and the director, very small budget film. Um, I would say I was probably like the third or fourth member, probably the third member of the most films, at least the small film. It was the producer and the director. And the director also wrote it. So they're running the whole thing. I'd say I was about the third head of that. Not
Okay.
making daily decisions, but consultation. When Brian writes the script, he sends it to Larry, the producer. I got a copy, and
Mm.
I got to give notes.
Nice.
No one else got a copy of it because they're not part of that core team. On the set of the film, I'd be there on the set talking with Larry and Brian. Larry's the producer again, talking to Larry and Brian, what's going on. One meeting I had with Brian as he's writing the script, he told me this was really interesting because he just came up to me and said, "Look, if you ever have a problem with this with what's going on in film, please come up to me and tell me one on one. Don't just say it out loud." I go like, "Oh, of course not. I never even thought you're not going to sit there and it'd be stupid for you to be on the set, even though it's your comic, to yell out in front of everybody, 'Hey, director, that scene doesn't look good,' blah blah blah." You don't undermine the director, you don't.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so there was one time I went up to him. I'm not gonna tell you what it was, but it was like, "Hey, no. Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I'll change it. And that was it. That was it. As far as the script, yeah, I would send in notes. I try to be careful. You don't want to be the guy like, oh, he wouldn't say that. You know what I mean? Because that's like you're nitpicking at that point. Because it's at that point it's his El Muerto, because he was writing it. So I was really fine with it. Like I said, I had a really good relationship with the director. I mean, really close fellow creators. He's the reason I signed the contract, because I read the contract, and after we got all the points figured out between me and the lawyer and the producer's lawyer, we got all the stuff figured out to our liking. I want to make the film because Brian's making the movie. You know what I mean? Because he's making it. He's always open with me. I can call him up anytime I wanted to. I can tell him anything I wanted to. That's why there's a film. I think I've told him that too. So yeah, and then whatever, a month later, we're filming the last scene, and then it was kind of like high school, the end of high school, like because that's when I had all the actors sign my script.
Ah, nice.
Like as the actor would finish their last scene, hey Tony Plana, can you sign? Hey Maria Alonso, can you sign? Hey Wilmer, can you sign my script? So signed script. That's one of my treasured, heirlooms, I guess. Signed script from the main cast of El Muerto. And then because it's an independent small film, yeah, I mean, I say it matter of factly now, but believe me, I was so thankful every step of the way, humbled and proud.
Yeah.
But now, that film is, how old is it? Came out in 2007. What is it? It's almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
That movie's almost 20 years old, folks.
Is it streaming anywhere? Is it available for people to check out?
It's on it's on Tubi. Yes, right now, folks. After the interview, check out Tubi. Look up The Dead One. They changed the title for some pieces and such. So look up The Dead One, and it's the El Muerto movie starring Wilmer Valderrama. And look for my cameo. I look almost the same, except this is black. When I go back and look at the film, and my cameo comes out, like, wow, that's one thing about being on film. Actors do it all the time, but like, you're always going to be that age and that look as people watch it over the years and decades. It's like, wow, that's to me, that's crazy. Someone like Eastwood who's done, 50, 100 movies over 50 years, doesn't faze them, right? But me, it trips me out. But the cameo was great, right? Because I picked a part in the script where there's El Muerto's walking into a Day of the Dead festival, and there's a guy in a paper mache skull mask. He's walking out, and they meet, and then the guy takes the mask off and checks him out. Hey, nice outfit, man. So I told Brian I want to play this character. He goes, but he's wearing a mask. I go, yeah, but he takes it off. So that scene stands out more because I told people, no offense, I didn't want to be like Todd McFarlane in Spawn and just be some bum crawling out of an alley.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
Or I didn't want to be Mr. James O'Barr in The Crow, where you see him way in the background walking out of a burning building with a TV.
Yes, dude. When I found that out, I was like, "That's the wildest cameo!" Like,
yeah, I read about that because you don't notice it, and I thought, oh yeah, there it is. It's got the long wispy hair. It's pretty cool. That's when TVs were those big, fat, heavy boxes, by the way, young people. But I wanted a scene in the film, and I wanted it with Wilmer in his full El Muerto costume. So it's surreal to see that film. In my first graphic novel, I gave myself a cameo in the graphic novel where I'm actually wearing the same costume because it's a Day of the Dead festival. I don't take the mask off, but you see the mask and the poncho with the skeleton body on it. So
how cool! Dude, that's epic.
I got to keep the paper mache mask. I got to keep the paper mache mask, and I got to keep the poncho. So, one day, like Robin, I'll have to have it in a glass case in my Muerto cave.
Dude, yes. And so what, the book had been around for about almost 10 years about at that point when the movie came out?
Yeah. 98, 2008. So it's about 6-7 years at the time the movie came out.
Man, that's epic. So, another thing too, which is an insane accomplishment of yours that can't be glossed over, is you've had this book going for 25, 30 years at this point. So that's how do you keep a book going for so long?
Well, in my case, there's a glacial pace to those first 3 floppy issues, like years, a couple of years in between each one. And then I did this team up story with another character of mine. It was El Muerto versus Weapon Tex-Mex, which isn't really in continuity, but I wanted to do that. You know, the classic team up where the heroes meet, they fight. Oh, we're on the same side. And I did a manga Muerto spin-off of it where El Muerto he's a little younger and he's drawn more manga style. I don't really do manga style art. I mean, that's a skill. But I try to draw more cutesy looking, right? He's smaller, bigger head. He's a high school exchange student from Mexico in Japan. And through weird circumstances, because the comic, he gets control of this giant robot Skeletron, which he controls with his a flip phone. At the time, it was their flip phone. So I've done 3 short stories with that because I always wanted to do like a giant robot or Gigantor, if you guys know Gigantor.
Yeah.
That's the old school anime, black and white. I always wanted to do a giant robot story. But at the time, again, like Batman, it's like, well, you know what? This will be a different version of El Muerto. I don't want to create a new character. I wanted to see El Muerto in that storyline. So there's a manga Muerto. And the book's called Manga Muerto because as I'm working on it, that was just a placeholder. Like, well, it's Manga Muerto. I'll come up with the title later. And at the end of the comic, it's like, what better title is there than Manga Muerto? You know what I mean?
That's so good.
Yeah, it kind of tells you what it's about. It gives you a flavor, like, oh, it's Japanese style giant robot stuff. And it sounds nice. I like saying Manga Muerto. And I like the clash of the cultures, manga and Muerto. So anyway, it worked out that way. And I've done other characters. Yeah, you can see some of them behind me. I've done short stories. You know, years ago, I did this series, what I call poster comics. They were one-page comics formatted to be printed out on 11 by 17 prints, posters.
Cool.
So writing a one-page comic with a new character is crazy, right? Because you only have 6, 8, 9 panels. But it's like writing a Japanese haiku. Like, you know, it's 1 or 2 sets, poems, whatever. Yeah, I love the guy behind me in the white turban and the white suit, the black face. But yeah, I did a series of those, and that's what this cover is. You can't see the whole thing, but it's called Comix by Javier Hernandez, and it collects all 12. I think I did 12. Oh, thank you. That's most of the characters, I think, on there, all around me.
Epic.
Wow. The guy under my name, let me see.
Oh, let's switch over here. Yeah.
I did a Steve Ditko one-page biographic comic, and so I put him on the cover too. So yeah, I got to reprint that book. It's been out of print for some while.
Epic.
And then so there's all those characters I made, and then I did another follow-up where they were like 3 or 4 page comics, and those were like I think three different characters. And I've done other stuff, other comics like the Coma one shot and different things. So yeah, I've done El Muerto 25 years, but it's not like I've done it every month. Otherwise, I'd be like Michel Fifi and have like a nice big 50-issue run like he's got with Cobra. I think he's beyond 50 now, maybe. So anyway, but I've done El Muerto as my central thing, but I've always branched out and do these other things. Because I get restless as a creator. I get these ideas for a new character. And I don't want to necessarily shove them into the Muerto verse so they have their own comic.
Man, that's awesome. And I mean, it's really good and admirable, like especially doing comics from the late 90s into 2025. What are some of the biggest changes you think you've seen in the industry, especially for indie comics? Has it gotten like easier, better, worse in some ways?
There's probably some negatives, but the number one ways we're doing it, internet's brand new, you know, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
Brand new frontier. Back then it was MySpace, but I had a MySpace page, and I can put up El Muerto artwork or whatever, or promote my latest signing, and then it gets seen by a lot of people. Los Angeles, California, United States, the world. So yeah, the internet without a doubt, and digital technology. You know, one of the great things, Comix Wellspring being one of them, is digital printing, because I'm old enough that I printed my first 2 comics, floppy El Muerto comics. Actually, I have it right here. Here's a little gem for your readers. This is an actual offset printed comic. This is actually the original origin story. Days of the Dead. Yeah, I know these screens don't work too good with the. But this was what they call offset printing, which is for the younger viewers, whatever. You've seen in the movie, like when they're at the newspaper printing press, those big giant rollers with the big giant rolls of paper. So it's been printed on that. And back those days, you had to print like 3,000 copies, or was it 2,000? I forgot.
It's a
Might
high
have been
number up
2,000
there.
copies
Yeah.
for three. That's a big number. It was either 2,000 copies for $3,000 or 3,000 copies for, like, that was the minimum they would do because of the size, and they would have to use it, whatever the reason was. Um, and I found a local printer here. They weren't a comic book printer. They were China Times Press. It's a large Asian community where I went, and they printed up most of the Asian, the newspapers and like the supermarket ads and all that stuff. So me and my friend went there, and we goes, "Hey, can you print?" We took a comic. Can you print a comic? It's like your other things. It's just paper with a staple on it, a glossy cover. So yeah, I printed two comics there. So boom, I had to drop 2,000, and then boom, another 2,000. Digital printing, like you guys do, Comics Wellspring and other places. I can print. Well, the minimum here is 25. I can print. Hey, I just want 25 copies. It's a different printing process. You still get what you want. You still get, if you want black and white. And by the way, I love the blacks that I get on the paper here at CWS. Or you can do color comics. So yeah, digital technology has changed everything. Internet access, getting the word out, communicating with people all over the world, anywhere, any time of day, doing, visual interviews.
Yeah.
At home. You're back east. I'm here in LA. It's fantastic. So that's been remarkable. I tell young folks, hey, and I teach comics too. It's a whole nother
Oh yeah.
interview stream, but
Yeah. I didn't even get to
and
that
I
part
tell
actually. Yeah.
no, I'm sorry for being so damn busy. I tell the students, they go, you guys don't have to. You guys can't afford to print. Obviously, I couldn't print as a high school kid. You guys can throw your stuff up on Instagram. Oh, whatever you want, wherever you like to, social media. You can put up a panel or a page a day, whatever. Figure out your system. You guys can show your work to potentially dozens, hundreds, thousands, blah 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 of people. We never had that opportunity, until MySpace came around. So yeah, digital technology has been the biggest, best thing. What have been the negatives about moving forward in time? I mean, competition, I guess, but there's always going to be competition, whether it's digital technology or not. Competition meaning the artist sitting on your left or right side of you at a convention. Um, Competition for space on the internet. I mean, it's limitless. But I'm saying is, when people are on there, they may spend more time on so and so creator's page or Instagram page than looking around for other stuff. So yeah, the competition. But you know what? I say competition, that we're in competition with one another, but we're really not, because I'm the only one doing El Muerto the Aztec Zombie, and I'm the only one that draws like this behind me, and you're the only one who writes and draws what you do, and she's the only one, and blah 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 blah. Uh, so that's the good part, is we're not competing directly like that. The the challenge is, if we're sitting next to each other at a table at a show, the person comes, they go to me, they go to you, they go to her, them, whatever. But that's what it is. You get a banner behind you. You got to figure out, how do I stand out at a show? Well, I have a big banner behind me, um, and then I try to be consistent going to that same show every year. And then at the end of the day, all I can do is make my story as good as I can, and whoever likes it likes it. Whoever doesn't, which is the majority of the world, and I say that about anybody, right? I mean, let's take the best-selling comic of all time. What is it, Youngblood or X Force, whatever, X-Men?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Jim
Something
Lee
like
number
that.
one,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, 8 million copies. It's phenomenal. I'll never get there. On the other hand, there's what, 5 billion people in the world. So that's a drop in the bucket. So not even he gets everybody. So not anyone, I'm just trying to set people up. Not everyone's gonna like your work. My friend says the world doesn't owe you a favor. And that's great advice. I try to share that, because you could spend a year, months, whatever, working on your comic, slaving over it day and night, whatever. Maybe you lose friendships, maybe you miss out on a lot of stuff, but you put it out there, and if it lands with a thud in the marketplace, I mean, yeah, that sucks. And I've been there, but you can't raise your fist at the world. I mean, it doesn't work that way. Like, the world doesn't know you spent all that time, and they're not like, oh, I got to go support them. It doesn't work that way. I mean, it's a hard lesson to learn, but best you learn it now before you go out there and do a show that lands with a thud. But you believe in your product, and like I said, you market it, go online. Nowadays, go online, get your big banner. When I see people without a banner, it's like, how can you not have a banner? People see it from far away.
Honestly,
Either they recognize you from last year's show, or, hey, that's a cool looking character, whatever, or the art's great. So anyway, that's how you stand out in this highly, highly, always competitive market.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's indie comics are, you're trying to get your stuff out there, and I've always compared it to, we're all in a stadium and we're all just trying to swinging our book to the one person on center stage saying, buy my book, and that's what the internet feels like sometimes. And it can feel defeating, but just knowing that you completed something and brought it to life, not only is that going to mean a lot to you personally whenever you get that done, no matter the reception, but also like a lot of creators just admire that. No one's chasing like or going to criticize you for quality or anything. Creators are happy that you got the book done. And I love the support that our community gives of just like, dude, I'm happy to get it because it's done. Like, I've seen you work on it for months. Like, so building that up has been really supportive.
A friend of mine, I don't know if you know him, his name's Eric Mengel. He's from Arizona. He does a mini comic called Ocho. It's like this blue alien. He's an alien missionary sent to Earth. He hit his 30th anniversary this year. I admire the heck out of it. I'm at 25, 26, 27, but I admire the heck out of that. Like, it gives me inspiration to hit my 30th and continue. Like, he's stuck with it for 30 years, and he just put out a couple of issues. He's got more to do, you know what I mean? He said he's not done. So yeah, congratulated him. So yeah, I am happy for other people's success, especially coming from our world of independent, self-produced, self-financed, self-published comics. To stick with it. I'm sure Eric's had a lot of, landing with a thud moments like we all have, but he stuck with it. I'm sure he could have quit the second year, third year, fifth year. But he's still doing it. So that's great. Very inspiring. And I hope people look at me as an example. If they're doing comics and they want to stick with it, all I can say is stick with it. I know it sounds like very no-brainer advice, like, well, duh, but think about it. You really got to stick with it through thick and thin.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. No matter how burnt out you may seem or how tired you may feel or, what emotions you may be going through, like, it's hard to be blunt kind of, but if you're going to be professional, like, you're going to still show up and you're going to, even if it's not the best thing you ever put out, you're going to show up and you're going to put it out there and you're going to do your best. And, honestly, you're ever all harder on ourselves than anyone else. And even some of my worst drawings or my worst, like, scripts I've turned in, I'm just like, you know what? Like, it's still not bad. Like, it's actually like it got done. And so then you just kind of do it again. And it
the
just
next
gets better.
The next one will be better.
Yeah.
Yep. The next one will be better because I was talking to someone about this, about continuing. And it's like, well, you know what? For every one of me or you that are out there doing our books, there's 10 more people who have an idea for a comic, or maybe they have a rough draft, they have a script they wrote, and it's sitting in their bottom drawer, and it's never going to get seen, and they never get started in their career. So for every 10 of them, there's one of you or me, like, we're too stupid or too stubborn or whatever, we don't know better, or we have that burning passion. We'll put it out there and get it out, and we'll get the next one out. The next one, this didn't sell good. I'll do a better job next time. I'll figure out different things. The art's not as sharp as it should be, or the script's wonky, but it's in print and it's out there, and I'll stand by it and do the next one and the next one, and the next one. You're automatically going to get better.
Sometimes like books just take time too to get to people. I mean, El Muerto, like, I'm excited to check this out. I'm excited to read it. I'm more than hyped to like pick up some copies and like check out your work, and that's the thing, like, you stuck to it and it just took a while to get to certain audiences. And it's like, dude, you just made a new fan tonight. I'm sure people in the chat are excited to check out your book as well. So just knowing, like, some books just take a while to get in people's hands, and then all of us have a reading pile this high. sometimes they just haven't
Yeah.
gotten to it and like initiated that fandom yet, but it's there, it's waiting, you know. But gosh, Javier, you're right. There's so much that you do, and there's so much that I'm interested in, and that you spearhead. I can't wait to bring you back for another episode. This has been so
Sure.
enlightening and so refreshing to hear from a creator and someone who's kind of living the dream of, I've had a book out for 25 plus years that I'm working on. I'm running my own convention, and it's for a great reason, spearheading culture and awareness, and just like highlighting and taking care of indie creators, which is so rare in this day and age. Everything you do, I just really admire. And so I really want to thank you for your time tonight and everything you gave to our audience when they listen back to this and watch this. It's so much great info and great insight from you. Why don't you tell us about the next convention, where we could find your work as well, and anything else exciting you want to announce to us too?
Yeah, just last weekend I was in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Oh, the
The
DitcoCon.
the
How was that
the
real
Steve
fast? I want to ask you about that. That was the coolest convention. Can you tell us a little bit about the DitcoCon?
Yeah, Steve Ditko is the co-creator of Spider-Man, the artist, designer, not just Spider-Man, but the entire Rogues Gallery, that famous Rogues Gallery, supporting
Mhm.
characters, and the plotter, as Stan the Man finally acknowledged in, I think, the second half of the series.
Yeah.
Plotted by plotted by Ditko, illustrated by Ditko, edited, written by Stanley. I'm not gonna turn this into a Stan versus Steve conversation. That's a 5-hour show.
That's
But
another. That's gonna be our next episode. That'll be great.
exactly. No, but so Steve Ditko is from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. He never went and said that because he was very private. But yeah, he passed away in, I think, 2018, 2019,
Mhm.
something like that. His family, because he has family, he has nephews and nieces. He had like a brother and I think a couple of sisters. So there's a lot of nephews and nieces. Um, and then, one of the main ones that I've met is Mark Ditko. He lives here in LA, actually, which was pretty cool. So I met him a couple of years ago. He came to a convention, LA Comic Con or Long Beach, because I was going to be on a Steve Ditko panel and he was in the audience. Anyway, so yeah, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Steve Ditko's hometown. The family there was interested in doing stuff to honor him because now that he passed, they figured, you know what, keep his legacy alive. They partnered with the Bottle Works Ethnic Art Center,
Mhm.
directed by Matt Lamb, big Ditko fan, great guy. So a couple years ago, they put on the first ever Ditko Con, and it's a real small convention. And one of the panels they always have, they've had 3 so far every other year, is the Ditko family panel. So the nephews and nieces are up on the board, up on the panel, talking about Uncle Steve. Right? We just know him as Steve Ditko, but he was the uncle to them. Beloved family member. So yeah, I don't know how many of the fans out there are Ditko fans, but we had very little personal information on the guy. There's
Yeah.
only like 2 or 3 photographs that we've seen of him from
Mhm.
the 50s and 60s, and pretty much knew nothing about him other than his work, which is what he wanted. But they're telling stories like he would come. He'll come home twice a year to Johnstown, take the train from New York. I forgot, maybe Easter and definitely Christmas. And at the Christmas gatherings, he would have his own assignment, like they're all cooking. I guess he was making these little, I don't know what they're called, but um, some type of pastry in a ball shape type thing. He'd
Okay.
be in charge of cooking that. He'd be singing Christmas carols with the family, playing with the nephews and nieces when they were smaller. I mean, every time I hear a story from the nephews, it's like, wow. Of course, he's a regular guy.
Yeah.
We always wonder what does he do with his time. So he would go home to Johnstown, and he would never mention it. When he got back and did a comic,
Mhm.
he would not write an editorial. Oh, I spent the Christmas with him. He kept his family separate from his work, and vice versa. When he went back home, the the parents of the nephews would tell all the nephews and nieces, "Hey, don't ask Uncle Steve about New York or his comic works. He's here to be with you guys. He's not here to
Oh.
talk comics." So very interesting how we did it on both ends. Um,
Huh.
yeah, it's fascinating. Again, as a lifelong Ditko fan. So I've done 2 issues of my "You Don't Know Ditko" zine. This is yeah, this is volume 2. Volume 1 was a few years ago. So I debuted this at the con, the Comics Wellspring book. And I have an article here about my doing the mural. it's what's it called? The Great Wall of Ditko. So if
Yeah.
you want to read about it, yeah, the Great Wall of Ditko, how I got contacted to do it, and
Oh, so you're the
you know,
artist who did that. I didn't realize that you were the one that was commissioned for that.
yeah. I did the this is it's a wraparound cover. Anyway, I keep disappearing. But yeah, the wall was 20 feet high by 90 feet wide.
Yeah,
So I
it's
did
an
the artwork.
insane wall. Oh man.
Oh, I got to see it for the first time last week, and he's like, you got to crane your neck from one side to the other. I didn't paint it by hand. I did a digital file. I sent it to them, and they would output it in sheets, and then they would put like a layer, I guess like a clear vinyl on top of it, and then they'd have the community members. So I love this part. Would come in and paint over it.
Oh wow. Okay, that's
Yeah. So
insane.
they could see the colors, and they had color guides. Okay, this part is red. This is skin color. So it's based on my exact color scheme, but all the brush strokes on there is the Johnstown community. Little kid, I saw photographs of little kids painting it, adults, older folks, some family members. Yeah, so when you go see the mural, you look up close, it does look hand painted because it is literally painted, but it's over my
Man.
design. And yeah, it's amazing hearing from the old time Ditko fans that they were like, this one guy was almost in tears, so happy with the mural.
Yeah,
And
I had a
with
fun. I saw it posted on social media, and I was like, "Oh man, it has this. It has Mr. A and the question," and I was just like going through it, and I was super hyped about it. I had no idea that. Yeah, I can't wait to bring you back on and talk more about Ditko stuff and inspirations. That's
and you got to
sick.
go to
That's
Ditko Con one year.
yeah. It's only like 4 or 5 hours away from me. If I wasn't busy that weekend or out of town,
Yeah,
I forgot where I was. But like, I'm definitely looking into it next year, hands down. Like,
well, it's every 2 years. So the next one in two
oh, okay,
years,
cool.
it happens to land on Steve Ditko's 100th birthday centennial. So yeah,
Yeah.
believe me, they're working on big plans for that. So that'd be the one to not miss.
Oh yeah, I'll look into that too.
2020.
Anyone else in this region should definitely like kind of reach out too. It's a cool thing. It's super rad. Dang, and
It was
that's
really
a cool
cool. It was really
opportunity.
yeah, and they invite local artists too. I mean, it was so. I was excited to meet finally Tom Scioli and Jim Rugg because they're in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh. It's like a
yeah,
2 hour
yeah.
drive. So I never met
Totally
them.
great. Yeah,
Obviously, I've seen Jim hundreds of hours. It was funny seeing him. It was almost like you see a celebrity. Like, oh, I've seen Clint Eastwood all my life. I've seen Jim Rugg hundreds of hours, and he is exactly the same in person.
Mhm.
Very genuine, very sincere. He doesn't put any. He's not a character. I mean, it's just it's Jim from the show. And then Tom was great to talk to. That guy's brain races a mile a minute, and we're just talking Ditko, Tim Burton, Batman movies, all kinds of stuff. Um, so DitkoCon's a good mix of Ditko family members there participating, some Ditko influenced creators, and then some local creators from the Pennsylvania area. So yeah,
Cool.
make plans if you can. So what I got coming up? Yeah, Latino Comics Expo, December 7th, 2025. This coming up. Um, and I'm working on I'll be getting my comics out. For the Kickstarter, I got to work on issue 2 and 3.
Cool.
Um, and I think that's it. There's done a ton of stuff, but we can't make a 5 hour show. But yeah, find me on Instagram. I post all the time on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I do the same post just to hit the 3 different things. But most people are on Instagram. Just go to Instagram. There'll probably a link down here below.
Yeah,
It's
everything. All your
Javier.
links are here in the episode as well too for people to
Okay.
check out.
So if you want to just follow me once, go to Instagram if that's your thing. I'll be there and update everybody on what I'm doing, and I'll share links to whatever I got going on and da da da. But it's been great talking here. I mean, it's hard to believe it's already an hour and 15 minutes. I think.
Yeah,
Doesn't
dude,
seem
crazy.
like it.
I'm so excited to talk to you again. This has been awesome, Javi. I'm glad their internet cleared up. For people popping in, our internet was so off when we first jumped on. We were nervous jumping into the conversation, but it was so perfect. I'm so happy for that because this was a great
Yes.
interview, man. Thank you for the Sunday night. Like this was awesome. I can't wait to follow up on everything too. I really appreciate your time and I appreciate what you're spearheading, and I can't wait to read more of your books. This has just been super awesome. So thank you, Javier. Everyone check out Javier Hernandez's links in the episode. Follow him, support his stuff. If you're in the LA region, make sure to sign up for his convention, or just go check it out and support it. Check out all those creators, and send us info on that too. I would love to see everyone who's printing with us over there too. And for all of our watchers, don't forget, we got Spilled Ink coming up the next couple weeks, every Thursday night. Maybe get you on Spilled Ink one night to come draw with us. That'd be super cool. We'll work out that time difference on that Thursday. But I'm going to be at New York Comic Con this coming weekend, and I'll be at Baltimore the following weekend. So if you guys are at New York or going to Baltimore, please let me know. That's how I'm wrapping up the year. I'm done with traveling after that. I'm so happy. And then I get to just rest for a bit. So say hi to us there, and thank you guys for tuning in tonight. This has been a great conversation. Javier, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate talking to you, and I hope to see you out at a show in your neck of the woods, or DickoCon, or come out to the LCX.
Yes, I got to get to the West Coast again. I miss it. I miss that entire ocean.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you guys all. Have a good night.